Good evening and welcome to this edition of Breaking Views, the only show on primetime television where we get you all the views on the top story of the day so that you get the complete picture. Now, two stories that we are tracking over here. Story number one, which I don't know how and why, perhaps we all know why, has been made to appear like the biggest issue in this country. The issue of pressing concern. It's not anything else but this. Hijab, Halal, Namaz, Azaan, and now in the national capital, no meat during Navratri. Issues that never existed are now suddenly being made to appear like the biggest issues of concern in this country. Is this an attempt to perhaps divert attention from the actual real issue, and that is price rise? Anything to not talk about price rise. We're going to get you all the views on that story. Also on the show, the criminal ID bill, which was debated and cleared in the Lok Sabha, will come up in the Rajya Sabha eventually. But there is a great amount of doubt and reservation. For instance, can you have a criminal ID bill? That means a digital record of anyone with a criminal record without a data protection bill. Does this mean privacy concerns? We're going to put that to a discussion also in just a short moment. But first, let's begin this program with an exclusive interview with Karnataka Minister. Remember, Karnataka has become somewhat of a political playground as far as this religious politics is concerned. So we spoke just a short while ago with a minister in the Karnataka government, Mr. Ashwath Narayan. Let's play that conversation. My question is that whether it is Karnataka or other parts of the country, from Namaz to halal meat to Namaz, you have a number of these incidents that are being raised. Do you think that this is a diversionary tactic so that the people don't end up asking questions on price rise?
No. See, we are not trying to have any kind of diversionary tactics that is ruled out. Price rise with regard to the oil, you know very well why the oil prices are increasing. Though if you compare with the rise of the international prices, it is not, the price inside the domestically we are not increased so much. It is whatever has happened, it is related to the international prices, one side. And we are not in that situation to have any kind of diversion. Here the issue is time and again, more so the issues, whatever has been propping up, it is not because of our government or nor our party. It is more so the fringe groups of their own communities who are trying to establish their own identity, their own leadership. They are trying to instigate and unnecessarily they are coming out with the issues very well to get identity, and they are working against the interest of the communities.
No, you may be speaking in the context of Karnataka, but you see, when you broad-base this a little, you've got BJP leaders in Delhi talking about, having no meat during Navratra. You have the BJP and the MNS saying that there should be a ban on loudspeaker Azaan. Even in Karnataka, you know that there is a demand on a ban on Azaan on the loudspeaker. That's why I'm asking you this question. From hijab to halal to Azaan to Namaz, do you really think that this as of now is the most important and pressing need of this country? To stop all these things?
No, see, under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, we have clearly identified the priorities in this country and we have been working on the priorities. Some of these political parties, when they can't talk about these relevant issues, they are getting into all these things. Irrelevant issues, they are getting into irrelevant because they can't speak about the relevant subjects. They are making irrelevant statements. We are very focused. We are here for the people. Ultimately, we need to go in front of the people, with the people. We need to tell them in all sectors, let it be from the
Ashwath Narayan ji, The reason
Yeah,
why
please,
I'm
please,
asking
sir.
you this question is because then whenever you're saying that these are incidents that are being propelled and promoted by the fringe, which is not exactly the case outside of Karnataka, even in Karnataka, there will be questions asked of where is the political will to stop this? You know, it's your government. If you want, you can stop this.
See, political will is very... See, the political will, we are very clear. See, with regard to the hijab, it was very well prescribed even before we could come into the power. Many years back itself, it was very clearly defined what is uniform, what needs to be worn by each and every student. But some of the fringe groups from the particular community, Muslim community, they were trying to instigate. See, that's how led into all this, confrontation and issue, which was also upheld by the court. And with regard to the halal,
No,
we are
but
not
then,
against anybody consuming halal meat.
you may
We are
say-
telling you are free to take halal meat. We are not
Correct.
against.
And yet,
With regard to Azaan,
there is a
we are
crisis.
telling you very
And yet there is a situation where you've got people who are going in and going
Crisis,
inside
who is
restaurants and
instigating?
demanding
Who-
that they be given jhatka meat.
Yeah, I am not of the belief, I don't belong to any particular committee. Why should I take what has been offered to their particular committee? It is left to the people choice. You can't force people to eat halal meat. See, it is their choice. He'll ask, no, this is my requirement. It is demand and supply. What is being demanded by people, it will be catered. See, what is not been demanded, it will not be catered. See, they have been expressing themselves. What is wrong in expressing
Correct.
themselves, in asking what kind of meat they want? Is it wrong? It is wrong? Is there anything wrong in this?
No, it is the manner in which they are expressing themselves and the fact that perhaps they feel that they enjoy some form of political patronage that they will get away by creating a ruckus. You see that, I'm not looking at halal in
No.
isolation.
See, nobody is
Mr.
there.
Ashwath Narayan, the number of incidents that have happened, one after the other, particularly in your state, Karnataka. Even the loudspeaker demand is now taking place in your state.
One after... No, see sir, one after the other, it is not been raised by us. It is the fringe groups in Muslim community, the PFI, SFI, they have been time and again rising. And the Congress party per se, they never had a clarity with regard to all this issue. They fell in the trap of PFI and SFI, and now they are confused what to make, what to ask, what to tell. They are totally confused. And with regard to JDS, now they are trying to take advantage over the Congress, and because Congress is playing into both the galleries, they don't understand. So JDS is now taking advantage. See, it is now the full match is going on between among themselves, among PFI, Congress, JDS. They are tossing the entire issue. Per se, our government, we are not trying to raise any of this issue with regard to the halal, with regard to the hijab, with regard to the Azaan. We are not raising. We are telling whatever is the law of the land prescribed.
But again,
whatever law of the land
the question,
we are going
the
to follow
question that will be asked is that while you make this statement, while you make this wise statement here, Mr. Ashwath Narayan, as a government, what action are you taking to make sure that these fringe groups do not rise with their demands and wreak havoc on the streets? I've run out of time, but your closing comments, Mr. Ashwath Narayan.
Let me make a very clear... No, yeah, let me make a very clear statement. We are here to uphold the law of the land. We will enforce whatever has been prescribed, whatever has been enshrined in the constitution, whatever has been permitted as per the rules and regulation will only be permitted, and we will protect whatever has been enshrined, whatever has been prescribed, whatever has been said in the law. We will follow, we abide and ensure the safety, security of each and every person, whatever it might be his practices, we'll abide by that and ensure the safety. Karnataka is known for harmony. Karnataka is known for progressiveness. Karnataka...
Let's just hope that actions speak louder than words as far as Karnataka is
very
concerned,
clear,
because you're a Karnataka minister,
Yeah,
so questions will be asked
Our
of you.
action...
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You're most welcome.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ashwath Narayan, for joining us. All right. So that was Karnataka Minister Ashwath Narayan. Now, this is happening and playing out in the national capital as well. Issue of most pressing concern. MPs are now commenting, and they're saying that during Navratra, you shut down all meat shops. No non-veg should be there in this country while Navratra is on. Well, he's an MP. He can bring a law. The government can bring a law, and then we can debate the consequences. But imagine at a time like this, in the national capital, because this emanated from the South Delhi Municipal Corporation shutting down shops. So you have a Delhi MP, Parvesh Sahib Singh, saying this.
मैं चाहता हूं कि तीनों नगर निगम इसको लागू करें, पूरे दिल्ली एनसीआर, और नहीं पूरा देश इसको लागू करे। देश में रमजान आते हैं या कोई क्रिसमस का त्योहार आता है तो सभी हिंदू भी उसके धर्म का पालन करते हैं, उनका सम्मान करते हैं। ऐसे ही जब हिंदुओं का त्योहार आए तो सभी को एक होकर देश की संस्कृति को आगे रखकर हमारे धर्मों का स्वागत करना चाहिए। तो कृपया उन सभी का सम्मान रखते हुए सभी इसका पालन करें तो अच्छा रहेगा। जितनी भी मोदी सरकार की स्कीम है वो सभी के लिए, सभी धर्म के लिए है।
Professor Gaurav Vallabh of the Congress Party and Niranjan Shetty of the BJP now join us. Let's know their views on this issue. Professor Vallabh, I want to begin with you. You heard what Mr. Ashwath Narayan, the minister in Karnataka, had to say. The script in Maharashtra is playing out all day today. In the national capital, you just heard what Parvesh Sahib Singh has to say, that there should be a complete non-vegetarian ban across the country for the 9 days of Navratra. Now, this may be someone's belief, but should there be a situation where you alter someone's food habits completely? I mean, he's talking about respecting sentiments. How about respecting sentiments to eat? And also, I want to ask you this, is this the most important issue in this country? Most important.
Sanket, in last 2 weeks, 9 rupee 20 paisa per litre is the hike in diesel and petrol price. And you know what is the impact of this 9 rupee 20 paisa hike? The total cost per year which citizens of this great country like you, me and your viewers are going to spend is 93,000 crore. And if I include the fertilizers and CNG, it comes to 1.3 lakh crore we have to spend per year on this hike, because of this hike. They will talk about hijab, but they will not talk about job. They will talk about halal, but people of this country are becoming halal because we can't fill petrol in our two-wheelers or four-wheelers. We can't fill diesels because of the hike in diesel prices. All essential commodity prices are shooting up. And I will give you one data, Sanket. In last 8 years, the government of India had earned 26,51,919 crore due to excise duty on petrol and diesel. And in our country, we have 26 crore families. So indirectly, every family had paid in last 8 years a fuel tax of 1 lakh rupees. Your family, my family, your viewers' family had paid 1 lakh rupees to Modi Saab as a fuel tax. Where is this tax gone? People are asking a simple question. I am a Brahmin, Sanket. During Navratra and during all days in a year, I don't take garlic, I don't consume onion. Should I ask Sanket Upadhyay or the gentleman from the BJP that I don't want to see you eating onion? Can I say like that? I challenge Mr. Shetty. I don't consume onion. I don't want to see you consuming onion during Navratras. I don't want to see you consuming garlic during Navratras. I hate that. Are you going to stop that? We want a debate and discussion on important issues, and that is the fuel loot. That is the loot in the CNG. That is the loot in the essential.
Mr. Shetty, I want to come to you now. Do you feel that this is a diversionary tactic, Mr. Shetty? Let's now hear Mr. Shetty's view. Mr. Shetty, do you think that this is a diversionary tactic to keep the focus away from any debate around mehengai or price rise? That you would love a discussion around non-vegetarian food, loudspeakers, which is the latest thing now in Mumbai, and you're supporting it also?
Sanket, I would have been happy if you would have initiated this discussion with the price rise and about the GDP. But unfortunately, we know that today's discussion is related to the debate which you have taken on the forefront, that is hijab, that is loudspeaker. It is not we who have initiated all these talks, number one. Number two, it is after Mr. Raj Thackeray who had spoken in the public rally about such incidents. Otherwise, our leaders have always been taking up these issues, and even much more before what Mr. Raj Thackeray spoke through the public rally. my leader, Mangal Prabhat Lodha, he went and petitioned the Honorable Police Commissioner of
No,
Mumbai.
Mr. Shetty,
and stating
Mr.
that-
Shetty, one moment. Hang on with that
No,
view.
no.
Why
Allow me to
is
complete,
it that
Sanket, if you
your
don't mind.
problem with the loudspeaker is only against the loudspeaker used in a mosque? I would have been very happy had there been a concert. See, nobody wants blaring music. It is a nuisance. Or blaring audio. It is a nuisance. But can it not be implemented or spoken about in public discourse beyond the prism of religion? Like all use
No,
of
but-
loudspeaker is wrong. Ban all loudspeakers.
Sanket, if
Ban
any
them.
community,
But equally
is
implement.
violating, Sanket, I agree to what you're saying, but you need to understand if any one particular community is violating, so naturally it will be highlighted. And in this juncture, at this present, it is a particular community which is misusing the law. Apart from that, my friend, my professor, he was speaking about the price rise.
Gaurav
Do I
Vallabh.
need to tell him? Yeah, Mr. Gaurav, I know. So I've heard him many times. So I need to bring to his notice. Do I need to remind my learned friend that the type of underhand dealing that was done during the foreign minister Natwar Singh's tenure, along with the foreign ministers of the different countries, and do I need to remind him of the petrol bonds that was been signed on behalf of Dr. Manmohan Singh, and because of which, of their fault, the present government has to repay
We have had this
loans.
discussion in the past
Apart from
also.
that,
now Professor
that's what
Gaurav
I said.
Vallabh will
So
go
there
on
are-
to
there
explain
are
oil
repercussions
bonds,
of the price
and
rise.
sadly I have
See,
very
there are the
limited time.
repercussions.
So
Sanket,
the
there
point
will
that
be
I want to ask
repercussions
you,
of price rise,
I want to
depending
no, my
upon
point
who-
is
who did
loudspeaker
all fault.
is
Of course,
one.
we'll have to
Loudspeaker
ban
is
that.
one of the many things. The BJP has also raised issue of non-vegetarian. I hope you know that during Navratra, and we have seen this during Durga Puja, where Bengali Hindus eat meat. There are meat stalls inside that pandal complex in Durga Puja.
I have friends.
Not now,
I know,
but the other Navratri.
See, basically,
Exactly.
It's a
So
demand
don't
been
you
made-
think that the point that is being made by BJP leaders, it's your MP, Parvez Sahib Singh.
I don't think
who's saying
any
that
of
ban
the
it
BJP leaders have
for 9
demanded.
days.
See, as far as you're speaking for the Delhi,
Who is Parvez Sahib Singh?
Delhi, let my counterpart
Who is
from
Parvez
Delhi
Sahib
reply
Singh?
to
He's
your
an
cause.
MP from
But
Delhi.
As far as, sorry.
Mr. Parvez Sahib Singh Verma, Parvez Singh is an MP from Delhi, member parliament of the BJP
for
from
that,
Delhi.
my counterpart
He's saying
from
ban
Delhi will
meat
reply to you
during
as far
Navratras.
as far as issues are concerned.
No, what is
if
this?
Suppose if somebody has demanded something, there is no harm if somebody. See, you cannot expect to live in peace and harmony only from one side. If they want to live in peace and harmony, especially in India, they need to understand the opposite community also.
I
You
don't know
can't
what
say
this
you
means.
you can allow the others loudspeaker
No, what is
to
the meaning
harass
of
us
this?
and disturb us. And when there is a Supreme Court guideline
Professor
that
Gaurav
no such
Vallabh.
loudspeakers are allowed,
Yeah.
in spite
Professor
of that,
Gaurav
they are
Vallabh, no, that's
using
what I'm saying.
blatantly, and
Implement the
there are
rule
no
of
such
law
things. So let them follow
outside
rule
the
of
prism
law.
of religion. Implement it.
So if
Implement
has-
it uniformly.
I think if the Delhi government
Uniformly.
is there, the Delhi
And
government
also the
must have
timing.
come- It is the Delhi government has come out with that.
Professor Gaurav Vallabh's
NCD
quick
has come up
response.
with the directions.
Professor
If they
Vallabh.
want
Yeah,
to, they can oppose it.
Sanket, a small point.
Gaurav Vallabh's quick
Number
response.
Number one, petrol bonds
Gaurav Vallabh's quick
repayment
response,
in
please.
last petrol bonds repayment in last 8 years is only 3% of what government of India had collected by imposing high excise duty on petrol and diesel. So that is for the information of Mr. Shetty. And Mr. Shetty, please answer my question. In Navratra, I am in fasting, and I don't want anyone to eat onion and garlic. Are you going to ban onion and garlic? Yes or no? Let me know. I am on
According
fasting.
to his
And
logic,
I
he
want
can
you to
express
answer
this
me.
view.
Okay, I'll
You should
answer your
answer
question.
first. I will-
Sanket,
I will answer.
According,
I'll
no,
answer
he's
his
saying you are
question.
free to express this view.
I'll answer his questions provided he replies to my question.
Quickly.
That when the state government of Rajasthan mentions that during this Ramzan only there will be no power cut, why in other areas there will be power cut? Answer that.
No, I don't know where this is headed. My point is, my point is, it is very,
Sanket,
very
I am
clear
asking him the question,
that,
my friend,
and
Mr.
obviously,
Gaurav
you know,
should answer.
there is an allegation against the media that why are you discussing this issue if it is not important?
To eat the
The
food
point
during
is,
Navratri.
thank you very much for joining us on discussion number 1. We have to discuss this because these are senior ministers, members who are ruling this country, some of them affiliated with the country, some people who support those who are in power, who are making these statements. They carry weight, they carry an impact. So if they will say things like these, are they doing it to raise this emotive issue, to keep the focus away from the real issues? Thank you very much for joining us. Let's quickly shift to the second story that we are tracking, on which we would want our panelists to express their views, and that is the criminal ID bill, by which the central government will be, or the police forces will be able to store data on people they feel have a criminal background. Now, many of the opposition parties felt, when this cleared Lok Sabha through a voice vote, that minus a data protection bill, this is going to be a privacy nightmare. I would like to introduce our guest, N.S. Napinai, advocate in Supreme Court and founder of the Cyber Sathi Foundation, and Subimal Bhattacharya is a cyber security expert. Let's know your views. N.S. Napinai, what is your view?
I am deeply concerned because you already had an Identification of Prisoners Act. It went through amendments. After a law commission report went into what was the requirement, and it has limited the kind of data that can be collected. You have to keep in mind, Sanket, that what is being sought to be collected is not just from convicts, but also from persons accused. And you have a provision which says if the offense that is being accused of is less than 7 years, then you cannot be forced to give this the details that are being sought. The wording that is used is measurements, but what is being taken is actually a lot more than measurements. It's everything from your physical, physiological, psychological, etc. profiling. The reason I mentioned about the 7-year sentence aspect is, if I were to ask you, if I just throw a section from IPC at you, Sanket, and ask you, how many years sentence does it carry? Would you know that? You are, if it's a person who is being arrested on the accusation of having committed an offense, he is not yet a convict, and he is being asked to surrender a lot of personal details without understanding what his rights are. It's not like he's going to have a lawyer in tow to tell him what is the applicable provisions and what are the sentences that are going to apply to it. And unless somebody is there to tell him, look, you have the right to remain silent, you have the right to not provide these details, he is not going to know. And in a circumstance like this, where it is mostly out of fear that a person in that situation would be conducting himself, to expect him to be able to protect his two very important rights, which is his right of privacy and his right to not self-incriminate. So I feel that two very important decisions of the Supreme Court have been completely ignored through this bill. And as you rightly pointed out,
right to privacy.
We don't have the Personal Data Protection Act coming still, and this has taken primacy before that.
Now, Subimal Bhattacharya, how would you respond? You've heard what Ms. N.S. Napinai has to say, that you've got a right to privacy, law or a judgment from the Supreme Court, which doesn't seem to be respected with a law like this. And of course, the fact that we still do not have a personal data protection bill. It's been in the works for many, many years.
Absolutely, Sanket. I think the personal data protection bill has taken a lot of time, and definitely the government should be far much more proactive to, make it as a law. But having said so, we are still not operating in a vacuum. There is an IT Act. There are other acts, as Advocate Napinai has also mentioned, the IPC. You have the information technology guidelines that were passed in 2011 itself, which took care of the basic privacy aspects of citizens. So I think we are not operating in a vacuum. And having said so, what this current bill intends to do, basically so much of technological changes are happening. Technology is being used so much more today in the criminal justice delivery system and in particularly in the investigations. So here in this case, when you are trying to amend a 1920 Act, of course it has had its amendment, but even if you look at the 2003 expert committee that was put up, they had also proposed, looking at the availability of technology. They need to take samples that could be far much more definitive in nature. So I think
my point over here is you heard Ms. Napinai. Her main concern was how this technology will be used. You can put it to good use, you can misuse it as well. Now that is true for every law in this country.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the point is this is data privacy. The point that a person who even before conviction is going to let go of some very important personal data.
So even today, if personal data has been submitted, they are not meant to be strewn around here and there or subjected to all kinds of misuse and all. I don't think such intent has ever been there from any government. So pending the fact that the data protection bill is in works,
intent and provision in law are two different things, Mr. Subimal. The point is the government may have great intentions, but by law a person must be protected that this data will not be misused. It should be in the law. I think otherwise, everything can be left to intention. You don't need laws then, after all. Everything will be on good intentions. Anyway, the point is that this has cleared the Lok Sabha test. It is yet to clear the Rajya Sabha test, where it will eventually come up. There are a lot of MPs who are saying you give it to a select committee. Let's put more thought into this. Let's discuss this and then implement a better bill. What will the government
may I come in for
send
just
it to a
one
select
second?
committee or railroad through? I've run out of time, Ms. Napinai. I promise that we are going to debate this and get more views as we go along when this gets presented for tabling and passing in the Rajya Sabha as well. That's a wrap in this edition of Breaking Views, but news continues on the other side. Stay with us.